Does the desire on the part of a guy to want to be monogamous, to want to be a father, to want to be this, quote unquote, traditional guy, does that signal, does that telegraph beta? Does that telegraph this is a guy who doesn't fuck? Does that telegraph, does that put in the, because we've had this conversation before. I still have not answered this question. And maybe this is something I need to talk to with Justin and Mike at some point. But we've had these conversations as far back as the So Suave days. If a guy is marriage minded, if a guy is monogamy minded and he wants to have kids and he wants to be the head of the household and he wants to be a family man and everything else, which is, ostensibly a family man today. If that guy is telegraphing those things, what is he telegraphing, right? Is it only because he has no options, right? Wait, hold there. No options? Is he telegraphing? Because here's the thing is like guys like the guy that was on, I forget his name, who was on Fresh and Fit. Sam, go dig that up for me. The guy's name who was just on recently on Tim Pool with Fresh and Fit. And he's got this idea, and I really wanted to dig into that. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to today, but maybe I'll save it for like a Wednesday show. But the guy, I want to riff on the entire episode of Tim Pool and Myron and Fresh, and this guy whose name is what? Somebody will give it to me. But they were just the question, like the guys who was the sort of tradcon, pro fatherhood kind of, man up and be a man kind of thing. It's like, this is the way we should have done things, right? I did stupid things. I fucked chicks when I was in my youth, but now I've learned my ways. But that guy, if you like, here's the thing is like the guy who had met his wife prior, if he had met his wife, the woman, the girlfriend, the woman who was going to be his wife, and he hadn't been the guy who fucked, if he hadn't been the guy who other women had some pre-selection for, or he hadn't been the guy who had the experience enough to attract and arouse the woman who was going to be his wife, if he hadn't had that, and if he started and he led and his game was all based on, well, I'm a real man and I've got Spartan energy and I've got, if he went in there as sort of like a man of God, if that was his game, would he even be married to her? Because she's not looking, maybe she was, or maybe she wasn't, I don't know. But the long and the short of it is that women aren't looking for the guy who wants to be dad. They're looking for Mr. Exciting. They're looking for the guy who can rock their world. And then maybe he's going to be the guy who's going to be there for the long haul. He's the wants to fuck guy versus the guy who wants to be dad guy. And if you lead with, I'm going to be a good dad, I'm a good provider, here's an Excel spreadsheet of why you should marry me and not these other dudes that you fucked around with. If you lead with that, you're done. Yeah. In fact, the very fact that your mentality would be about that telegraphs, I don't fuck. How do I know that? Because if I go in and look at guys like Grant Cardone or Gary Vee or Ben Shapiro, for example, and you look at what their stories are with the women who they married, it's all the same story. Oh, she hated me. She wanted to get with the rock band drummer. She wanted to get with the lead guitar player. She wanted to get with the lead singer. She wasn't into guys like me, but I stuck it out. And I had perseverance and I was just there all the time. And, and now, of course, now she wants you because you become a multimillionaire and she has need for that now. She didn't have need for the multimillionaire. She had need for the guy who was going to rock her world in bed and who was fun and exciting. And now she's had her fun. And now she's decided to go through her epiphany phase. Go through her epiphany phase. And now she's somebody else. I had my fun. No fun for you. But you have everything that I need, Grant. You have everything I need, Ben. You have everything I need, dude who's Gary. You have everything I need. Oh, you were here all along. I'm 29 now. I'm 30. I'm 31. Oh, I love you. I didn't even know I loved you until I hit 29. I didn't even know that I needed someone like you in my life. It's like a romantic comedy. No, you're being pragmatic. Yes. But they have the same story, and it's all about perseverance. It's all about sticking it out. They didn't like you. They had no desire for you until they did, until they had a need of you, until they said, oh, maybe this guy's going so, until you had over $1 million in your bank account, until you had a yacht, until you had some sort of something. Because you tell you this is like between 18 and 28, thanks to the sexual revolution. You want to talk about freeing? Here's how the sexual revolution freed women. It gave them the hoe face, and it gave them plausible deniability, and it gave them no accountability for the hoe face. In fact, if anything, it gave them the freedom of being forgiven at 29, 30, or 31. That's what it's. You want to talk about who has it benefited the most, men or women? It has definitely benefited women, because it's given them the freedom to fuck around. I'm not saying they all do. I'm just saying it's given them the freedom to, if they want to, fuck around from 18 to 28 years old. That's how you get a Ben Shapiro, a Gary Vee, and a Grant Cardone. That's how you get them waiting it out, because they're still stuck in this 20th century. Well, I'm going to be a real man and be there for her and meet her needs and what requirements do I have to do? Because men want to solve problems, and the problem that they're solving here is their reproductive problem. What do I got to do? What do I have to do to get? How much do I have to make? How much do I have to achieve? How famous do I have to be to get out of the 80% and into the 20% and hopefully into the 4.5%? Trust me when I say this. Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, and Ben Shapiro were never in the 4.5% that Justin Waller is. Now you say, well, you're just measuring his dick against their dick. No, I am measuring the guy who women want to versus the guy who they don't, but they will settle for later on, because their more immediate needs is long-term security after 29, 30, 31 years old. Don't believe me? When is the average age of first marriage for women? That's when, 19 or 29 years old, 28, 29 years old. It's not some magical coincidence. It's not because they want to get right with God. It's because the lights are coming on at the club, and they got to find somebody to go home with before the club closes down or the lights come up. That's why they got to stick the landing. Thank you, Dalrock, for that. They gotta, it's the deathbed confession. We got to get out of here quick. Now I'm going to be a trad woman. So they will never be the problem that I have with guys like this, but with Jason Howerton, with Ben Shapiro, with these guys who stuck it out, and they think they're so self-righteous about it too. They stuck to their guns, and they persevered, and I did the right thing. No, you didn't. The chick that's with you is only with you because it's transactional, because you had resources, because you were a good bet for long-term security. Trust me on this. They would have nothing to do with you if you didn't have the money you do. They would have nothing to do with you if you didn't have the status, the clout, the fame that you do, because they're not with you because of your looks. Trust me on that. They're not with you because they think you're sexy as hell, and they want to have your babies. They want their babies to have your money. That's what they want. And that's why you're married. And that's why you think you did the right thing. And that's why you're going to self-righteously, smugly write articles. You know who wrote an article about exactly the same smug bullshit, the self-righteous bullshit that you'll hear from Grant Cardone and the rest, and Ben Shapiro and the rest of this? You know who did that? Steven Crowder did that. Steven Crowder's now ex-wife didn't want to fuck him. She was not a ride or die girl. It had nothing to do with their religious affiliations. It had to do with the fact that Crowder was nobody, and then he became somebody. That's what it had to do with. Let's keep going.